During 1933 through 1945 was a tough time for everyone but mainly Jews. This was a horrid time when Jews were discriminated and persecuted against. Millions and millions of Jews were killed during this time period. This is when the Holocaust and World War II took place. This is also when Adolf Hitler, the start of all this tragedy, was in rule. Hitler was a pure genius, no doubt in that, but he was also pure evil. What he did with all that knowledge he bared is quite unbelievable even to this day, killing millions of innocents, including children, which brings up one of the most popular questions when the story is told. Why did Adolf Hitler do what he did? Maybe it was because of his childhood. Maybe Hitler grew up in a bad environment and he had a bad childhood, or not. Adolf Hitler was born in Austria April 20th, 1889. His parents were Alice and Clara Hitler. Adolf Hitler had 7 siblings, 3 sisters and 4 brothers. Alice Hitler Jr., his half-brother, Edmund Hitler, Otto Hitler, Gustav Hitler, his full-blooded brothers, Paula Hitler, Ida Hitler, his full-blooded sisters, and then Angela Hitler, his half-sister. Out of Adolf Hitler's 5 full-blooded siblings, only one lived past childhood. Gustav died at the age of 2 in 1887. Ida died at the age of 2 in 1888. Otto died within a year of birth in 1887. Edmund died at the age of 6 in 1900. His sister Paula was born in 1896 and lived until 1960. His half-sibling, Angela, was born on July 28, 1883 and died on October 30th, 1949. Alice Hitler Jr. was born on January 13, 1882 and died on May 20th, 1956. Hitler got great education and did really well in school. His teachers were always praising him for the high marks and his behavior. No one knows the family relationship, so there's a chance that Hitler's family didn't get along very well. He experienced some kind of trauma from it. There are other theories on why he might have decided to kill millions of people. One theory is that he was ashamed of his partial Jewish roots and people were already discriminated and persecuting Jews before Hitler even became chancellor. Second theory is a trauma caused by a poison gas attack in the First World War. And another theory is he contracted a venereal disease from a Jewish prostitute. No one knows the real reason why Hitler decided to do what he did. But what we do know is that Hitler didn't come up with this mascara. He just acted on it. The idea to make the Jewish race vanish came from Moses Hess, who said the race war must first be fought out and definitely settled before humane and social ideas become part and parcel of the German people. Moses Hess said this 70 years before Hitler came to power.
Another question that is common is how Hitler even rose to power. Hitler had fought in World War One and was very well respected in Germany. Hitler had joined the Nazi Party in 1919 and ended up being the leader in 1921 because he became the charismatic public speaker and attracted new members with speeches blaming Jews for Germans' problems and exposing extreme nationalism and the concept of the Aryan master race. His speeches accelerated him up the ranks in the Nazi Party, especially against the Youngs. In 1923, Hitler was sent to prison for 5 years but was only behind bars less than one for trying to take over the government in Bavaria during the Beer Hall Putsch. He became the national figure and after prison he rebuilt the Nazi Party and together they decided to gain more power through the German election in 1933. The election is, however, how Hitler got most of his power because he knew that if he became chancellor, that it would be hard to stop him. The elections were not held fairly. They used the fear to drive people to vote for them. But even though Hitler and the Nazis kept threatening people, the Germans did not elect Hitler. So the Nazis kept pressing Paul von Hindenburg until he actually did appoint Hitler chancellor. So even though Hitler was not elected, he still ruled over Germany legally.
Hitler was chancellor until the day he died, and during that time millions of innocent people, most Jews, suffered and died. Over 6 million Jews were killed, men, women, and children alike. Hitler had them converted into fat for soap, hair for mattresses, and bone for fertilizer. During that time, mass murderers had rose up and hoped, since they could get away with murder with no punishment. A lot of people experience a lifetime of trauma from the Holocaust and the dark time that Hitler ruled, and even a while after that. So when it came to the day that Hitler died, some of the fear and loss of hope from people died away, and instead grew hope that they could have a better future, a better life. Hitler died April 30th, 1945, from suicide while surrounded by U.S. troops. Hitler once said, "No power on earth shall bring me out of here alive," and he followed by that. After Hitler died, the end of World War II also ended soon after, and the Nazis finally got defeated, but Germany still remained corrupted a while afterwards.
World War II was a very big time for technology. So many things were invented during this time of war and advancement in the world. World War II made so many different weapons that were extremely feared by many different countries and by the citizens of the countries. The citizens of the country were involved with the war, mainly Germany, Poland, and surrounding countries, were all terrified that one day they could be attacked or caught in the crossfire of the armies that were fighting. This technology was so powerful that right after World War II, USA, Soviet Union, and many more countries went right into a Cold War, which is when the USA and the Soviet Union and their respective allies went into a conflict. If one of the sides were to fire the weapon of mass destruction, the other one would do the same and overall result in a nuclear war and more likely putting humankind into an endangered species.
After Hitler died and the war was over, the country Germany started to fall. Mainly, the people who were a part of the Nazi Party, they were taken to jail or prison. Later on, the program of Nazification was launched at the end of the Second World War and was solidified by the Potsdam Agreement in August 1945. The term Nazification was first coined as technological term in 1943 in the Pentagon, intended to be applied to a narrow sense with a reference to the post-war German legal system. Soon afterward, it took a general meaning from 1945 to 1950. The Allied powers detained over 400,000 Germans in the internet camps in a justical fashion.